Good afternoon.
Hiya.
Hi. Hello, Bianca. I'm Marion. I'm a teacher at Everyday English, and with me today is Bianca, who's also a teacher at Everyday English. How are you, Bianca?
I'm good, thank you. I think you thought that you'd got rid of me this morning, but in fact, I'm back.
No, not at all. I'm really happy to have you here and help me with a quiz that I've been looking at today.
Excellent.
Because this particular quiz, it's about commonly confused words. And the interesting thing, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, about this quiz is that some of these words are commonly confused by native English speakers.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are not just hard for speakers of English as a second language. These are the kind of things that you and I and other people who speak English as their first language often get wrong too. So I think I'll be quite surprised if I don't get something wrong during this process. Simply because we don't know every single word in the English language, do we? Or we probably haven't used a word for a long time, and we can forget something. We can, just like in any language.
Also, English is a strange language to learn because it's always changing.
That's true.
So, unlike Arabic and other Chinese, for example, which are quite static languages, our words often change their meaning or their spelling. And so sometimes we can get confused.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's get started then. Let's just bring it up on the screen. Okay, I've got this from Macmillan Dictionary, and we know as CELTA teachers that Macmillan is a great dictionary for speakers of English as a second language. It gives you really nice, clear definitions of words, and often gives you some useful information about how we use it that perhaps wouldn't be in another dictionary. So I know I go here quite a lot. Do you use this resource at all, Bianca?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also use it with young people in my youth and community work because often they are using words that maybe don't quite work in the sentences that they are using. So I really like Macmillan Dictionary.
Yeah, me too. Okay, here we go then. So, commonly confused words. Let's have a look. Yes, this is such a common problem, isn't it? This is something I see, especially on social media, where I find it very frustrating. So when I told my parents, I was very surprised by their reaction to the news. Or the two houses are identical in size, but their garden is much bigger than ours.
So which one am I going to choose?
Yes, exactly. If anybody's out there, please feel free to comment and guess yourselves as well.
Now, I know that when we're talking about something that belongs to somebody, we use EIR. EIR because it belongs to someone. So they are my parents. So that's what I'm thinking for the first one. When I told my parents, I was very surprised by their reaction to the news. That's what I'm thinking, Mariam.
I agree with you, Bianca. And the same with the second sentence. Although we're not talking about people anymore, we're talking about houses. We are still talking about something, the garden, that belongs to the houses. So again, we would use this there, wouldn't we? This possessive. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if we're right.
We are.
Yes, we are correct. Let's just bring this back.
This is great news.
This is great news, especially for us as English.
Yeah, I would be very worried if we got that one wrong.
Exactly. But again, do not be at all surprised if perhaps you're a speaker of English as a second language and you have friends who speak English as a native language and do not do this correctly, for example, in their social media posts.
Yeah, absolutely.
This does happen. So make sure that you have a belief in your own correct knowledge.
Remember, when you use the word there, as in THERE, it's over there.
That's right. Yes.
Over there. So it's like an instruction and places rather than belonging.
Yes, there is a place, THERE. There is a possessive word that we use to show that something belongs to a group of people or things. Yeah, very good. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. Yes, sigh of relief for both of us there, Bianca.
Ooh.
Okay, so we have actual and current. These are our two options. Which one of these words will fit in both of these sentences? So it's the situation that's important, not what happened in the past. And then our next sentence is, this strategy might be useful in the long term, but it won't solve the something crisis.
Now, I'm thinking that we're probably looking at current. You might tell me that I'm wrong, but I'm thinking current because of the time. So both of those sentences have a time reference. So you'll see that what happened in the past. So we're talking about something that's happening now. Again, the second sentence talks about the long term. Again, we're talking about something that's happening now. So they've got slightly different meanings, actual and current. So I'm going to go for current.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. So let's see if we are correct. Yes, we've got the nice
excellent.
Yes, very good. So current, an adjective used to describe things that are happening or exist now. And actual, as you say, has a slightly different meaning. So it's showing that something is real or exact. So it is has a different meaning. We use it for a different purpose. Current is a word that you'll see a lot in the news, isn't it? In fact, another word for the news is current affairs. Somebody will often talk about what's happening now.
And actual is something that we use when we are questioning social media. Yeah, so social media is fake news, and we're saying what actually is happening.
Yes.
So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. So what's the correct word? So we have two sentences. We're totally something on my partner's income. And the second sentence is, he was a single parent with 3 something children. So we have dependent, dependence, and dependent. And note we have the difference of spelling between this first one and the third one. Now, I will freely admit, Bianca, that when I was going through this exercise earlier, I did actually get this one wrong.
Okay, so I'm going to rule out dependence.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
And then I'm going to struggle with which one to choose.
Yes.
In my head, I'd like to choose the ENT, which probably tells me that it's the ANT. That's right.
No, you are absolutely right. ENT. So the reason being that, as you obviously knew, even though you thought you weren't sure, this ENT spelling shows that it's an adjective. And in these sentences, this is clearly what we need, is an adjective describing something. The dependent word, although we still say dependent, it has the same pronunciation, is a noun. So we can, so we can have a dependent. Yeah, yes, perfect. Well done. So clearly,
I feel quite clever now, Marion.
Yeah,
great for a Saturday afternoon. This rarely happens to me. I'm going to take more quizzes with you on a Saturday afternoon.
Definitely. Yes, I think that's really good. And I had a struggle with that one. Okay, so we just have one sentence this time. Something of the course. I couldn't speak a word of Spanish. So we have in the beginning and at the beginning. So again, doesn't look like there's much difference there, does it?
No, it's a really small difference. And in my head, what I do when I'm not sure is I say the sentence out loud and see how it works. So in the beginning of the course, at the beginning of the course. So this is where my ESOL skills go completely wrong, Mariam, and I embarrass myself with the answer and say at.
No, no embarrassment necessary. You're absolutely right.
Oh, this is great.
Yes, and it's funny how, as English teachers, sometimes we see something like this and we know the right answer, and then we think, I do anyway. I think, oh, actually, I do know that's the right answer. But because I'm a native English speaker, I'm not entirely sure why it's the right answer, and that's when I go back to my filter book. Yeah, absolutely. So at the beginning is the correct answer. The reason being that we have this of here. So if we're going to have this following phrase of the course, of whatever it might be, in the beginning, as you said, doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
We tend to use at the beginning if we have something following it, and in the beginning if there's nothing following it. So yes, that was, always learning, always learning.
Absolutely. And it is a really good tip to read the questions out loud.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I know I say that to my students as well. Just, does it sound right? Because obviously we are learners of English are learning English all the time, and they don't see how much is going in without them actually being conscious of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also the issue for native speakers, is that we learn English in a different way to how we teach ESOL.
We do.
So we don't get taught this.
No, and sometimes
so we don't know why we know the correct way, because we've never been taught it.
No, exactly. And sometimes we know the wrong way and we don't know why as well. Yes, I heard somebody say he would have gone yesterday, the other day. And that is, I think that's something that an English learner would never get wrong, because they've been taught differently. Whereas an English speaker will say would of, even though it has no grammatical correctness whatsoever. Okay.
Yeah, our language is very mixed now.
Yes, it is. All right, let's have a look at the next question. We're doing well. Halfway through now. So this new heating system is far more something economic or economical to run than the old one. And our second sentence is a dish which is easy to make, economic or economical, and highly nutritious.
I feel slightly more confident on this question, Marian, and I'm going to go for economical.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The reason being, they are two words from the same stem, the same idea, things to do with money and things to do with
growth,
how money works and growth, but they do have two different meanings, which is why we have two different words. Yes. So economical shows that we are not being wasteful, or we're
it's good value for money.
Yes. Whereas economic is more a generic term to describe anything to do with the economy, for example, of a country. So yes, exactly. Very well done.
Thanks, Marian.
Welcome, you too. Well, you've already done better than me. You're 5 out of 5. I was 4 out of 5 at this stage.
Yep. Well, I'm feeling quietly smug.
You should.
That rarely happens to me.
Let's have a look at the note. I hardly believe that's true. Okay, so the next one. So we have now this one again is so common, especially among native English speakers. This is really something we contend with all the time. Yes. So the novel is entertaining, but there are aspects of its plot, so these are both pronounced its, that don't make sense. And then again, each apartment has its own private balcony, but which its are we going to use?
Now, we know that when we see an apostrophe, it's for two different words. So it is. So the first part that you can do when you're trying to work out the answer to this question is read the sentence with "it is" to see if that makes sense. Each apartment has "it is" own private balcony. Now that doesn't sound good at all. So we can rule that part out. However, we also sometimes use apostrophes in different ways. But today I'm going for without the apostrophe.
Yes, exactly. It is confusing because there are times when, as you say, we use the apostrophe to show possession. But we don't do that with these pronouns. We don't do that with it. So that is the correct answer. Where we use the apostrophe here is its other use, as you say, where we've missed out one or more letters and pushed two words together. So let's have a look. Yes, we have the correct answer. It is the possessive form of it and never has an apostrophe. And as you said, Bianca, it is a shortened form of it is or it has, which made no sense in that sentence. Yeah, perfect. Well, beautiful explanation. Okay, so the next question then is, it doesn't matter. Okay, so the word is weather. These words are pronounced the same. They're spelt differently, they're pronounced the same. So we have, it doesn't matter whether it rains, the match will go ahead even if the weather is bad. So they sound exactly the same, but they are spelt differently. These two words have two different meanings. Which way round is correct?
So again, what I think is a really good tip is to think about the part of the sentence that you understand. So it probably is the match will go ahead even if the weather is bad. Now we know that the weather is bad is talking about the rain or the wind or the snow. So I will look for the word that begins with W-E-A-T-H-E-R, and I can see that's in the second answer. Yeah. So I'm going to go for the second one, weather and weather.
Perfect. Yes, exactly. So we are looking, that's a very good point. Look for the meaning. What is, it does matter because you could confuse somebody if you use the wrong word. Perhaps a native English speaker would understand the mistake that's been made, but perhaps they wouldn't. And certainly a speaker of English as a second language might well be confused.
And these are
spelling.
And these are really important tips if you're doing your IELTS examinations. Those small words that make all of the difference to the scores between a 6 and a 7. It's those small apostrophes, the weather and the weather, that actually affect your grade.
Yes, yes, because too many little mistakes and your grade goes down. And so it's really worth still thinking about these details. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. I do think that Macmillan Dictionary's quizzes are actually a very good resource as well, especially for IELTS learners. They cover a lot of different levels, but I think where IELTS learners are dealing with a more advanced vocabulary, they are trying, they're obviously practicing and need to practice a lot, then I think this is a really good resource for them, because this is by no means the only thing available on that website. Okay, so here we have two sentences. The project was progressing so slowly that I was beginning to something motivation. Make sure you don't something the key. I don't have a spare. So we have these two words. Which one is the correct word? Again, a really common mistake made by English speakers.
Because they sound very similar, don't they? So we're talking about lose and lose. Yeah. So sometimes you want to say loss there, but it's not loss, it's lose, because we've got an E at the end of the word. So that's where we start getting confused. Now, I'm going to go for thinking that if I was beginning to lose motivation, and I don't want to lose my key, Which one am I going to go for, Marion? Because in my head a moment ago, I was very confirmed, but I thought it was the bottom one.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, have faith. You're absolutely right. It is lose rather than loose. Loose has a separate meaning. It is a different word. It looks very similar, but it's not the same. So let's have a quick look at those definitions. Yes, I seem to have just gone a little bit forward with that. But yeah, lose, when we lose something, it means that we don't know where it is, or we know where it is, but we can't get it anymore. Then we lose. But loose
is when your clothes are too big.
Yes, exactly. Something that there's loose, or perhaps your car is rattling when you're driving, which may well mean that something is loose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so it's an organization, something, role is to make as much money as possible. Whose and whose, again, exactly the same pronunciation with these two. And again, IELTS learners, yes, this is really important. You know how important relative clauses are in your complex sentences, but we do have to get these words correct, otherwise points are lost.
So again, I'm going to give you the tip of reading the sentence out loud and remembering what we can see an apostrophe. So when we see an apostrophe, we think there's two words, which is who is or who has. So we will read that sentence out with that and see if it makes sense. It's an organization who has role, who is role. That doesn't sound very good to me, so I'm going to go with whose. It's an organization whose role it is to make as much money as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So whose is the possessive form of who. So who, as you say, whose with an apostrophe is a shortened form of who is and who has, and has a different meaning. Yeah, very good. Okay, so I think we're nearly there, Bianca. Yes, I think this is the last question.
Oh, exciting stuff.
Oh, yes. So take a deep something and then something out slowly through your mouth. So this again, very, very common.
So we've got breathe and breath, breath and breathe. So I read about, take a deep breathe. No, take a deep breath and then breathe out slowly through your mouth. So that would be the second answer.
Good, lovely. So exactly. So we have, and this is a common English spelling rule. This E at the end of a word very often changes the vowel sounds in the middle. So where this doesn't have an E, we have breath. So the vowel sound in the middle is short. And where this does have an E, we have breathe. So we have a much longer vowel sound in the middle. So they don't have the same pronunciation, and of course they're actually entirely different parts of speech, don't they? So let's have a look. So we have breath and breathe. Correct.
This is excellent news, Mary, and I shall continue teaching ESOL now that I know that I've got some of my words correct today.
Exactly. So yes, here we have breathe is a verb, breath is a noun. So they really are different words, and it's not good English practice to be mixing these two up, either in our speaking or our writing. So let's have a look. I think we know how you've done, but let's have a quick look. Perfect.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, that is a very appropriate adjective for you, Bianca.
Thank you very much, Marion.
Have a quick look at this. Yes, so I do think that these kind of exercises, they don't take long, do they?
No, it's 20 minutes of your day. And if this is something that you can do every day, your English is going to improve two ways. One, you're going to learn new words to increase your vocabulary, and you're going to increase your confidence. Because when you do things like this and you get a few correct, it makes you feel more confident in using words like these in your everyday English.
Yes.
Thanks, Marion. I really enjoyed that quiz.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me, Bianca. I do like having somebody along to join in the fun.
Well, it will either be me or Steve next week, and we look forward to seeing you. And as we said earlier today, stay safe, stay COVID-free, and keep speaking English.
Yes. Have a good week, everybody.
Take
See
care,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.